Welcome back to another episode of Self Expression Talk, podcast where we dive into the beautiful, messy, and sometimes challenging journey of being truly, authentically you. I'm your host, Janet Brown, and today we're diving into a topic that is a foundational to self expression. Yet so many of us struggle with it. We're talking about trusting yourself in your own thoughts. Now, I know this sounds simple. Of course, you should trust yourself, right? But for a long time, I didn't. In fact, a lot of my life was spent doing the exact opposite. I had this idea if I could just stay in my comfort zone, I could avoid pain and disappointment. I was an expert at keeping my guard up. I built these invisible walls around my heart, around my dreams, around every new person I met. My thinking was, if I don't risk anything, I can't be hurt, right? So, and after a while, it seemed to work. I stayed safe. But what I didn't realize was that being safe wasn't the same as being peaceful. It was just a different kind of pain, a quiet, constant anxiety. My guard wasn't just up against the outside world, it was also up against myself. I didn't trust my own judgment, my own decisions, or my own ability to handle a setback. So I would constantly second guess every idea, every impulse. My inner voice became a tiny whisper. I couldn't hear over the loud shouts of my own fear. So this is what I now call being in survival mode. It's just a state of constant low level panic. You're always on high alert, scanning the horizon for the next potential threat, next disappointment. And this is not living, it's just barely surviving. And when you're in that state, there's no space for self expression. There's no room for creativity or vulnerability. Now, how can you be your true self when your entire being is focused on avoiding something bad from happening? The truth is, self expression requires us to be seen. And that means having a risk of being hurt. It means we have to put out our ideas out there, pursue a new passion or tell someone how we really truly feel. When we don't trust ourselves to navigate the potential fallout, the rejection, the criticism, the failure, we shut down. We dim our own light. But what I've learned is that we can't escape pain forever because it's a part of the human experience. The only way out of survival mode is to not avoid pain, but to build an inner resilience that tells us that it's okay. Tell us that we can handle this. We can get through it. And that resilience comes from building trust in our own selves, right? So, how do we do it? How do we go from being our own worst enemy to our most reliable ally? It all starts with just that one single step. Start small, right? You don't have to quit your job and move to another country tomorrow. Just try a tiny risk. Maybe it's sharing a small personal opinion or in a small group conversation you normally stay silent in. Or maybe it could be just saying no to that request that you normally feel pressure to say yes to. Or maybe it's just as simple as listening to that quiet inner thought and saying, huh, this is interesting. So I'm going to acknowledge that feeling, even if I don't act on it right then and there. Another part of this is practicing self compassion. You know, when you do take a risk and it doesn't go the way you hoped, don't beat yourself up. Don't say, see, I knew this would happen, or that you can't trust yourself. Instead, be kind. Say, okay, that didn't work out, but what have I learned from this? And also be proud of yourself for just giving yourself a chance to try. Each time you take a small risk and handle the outcome, good or bad, you're collecting evidence. You're building a mental record that says, I can do this. I've done it before. Now I'll do it again. As you start to trust yourself, something incredible happens. You begin to find peace. We all know that we just have to have that peace. And this peace isn't the absence of any problems, it's just the absence of the constant need to be on guard. You begin to understand that life is messy, and that's okay. We all have those good and bad days, right? You no longer have to anticipate the next disappointment because you know you can handle it when it comes. You're preparing yourself. This is where true self-expression is born. When you're not in the survival mode, you have the emotional and mental energy. Be present. You can engage with the world with an open heart. You can share your true thoughts and feelings without fear. The walls you built start to come down on their own. Not because you forced them, but because you no longer need them. So, I want to challenge you this week. Think about one small area in your life where you've been in survival mode, right? Is it a fear of speaking up at work? Is it an avoidance of a difficult conversation with a friend? Identify it and then ask yourself, what's one tiny risk that you can take to show yourself that you can handle this? You're stronger and more capable than you think you are. It's time to start trusting yourself with the truth. So, thank you all for tuning in. I'll be back next time with another dose of self expression talk.